All right. Welcome to Showdown Swap. This is a show where we
What up?
give each other wrestling matches to watch, and then we come back on and talk about them. If you go to our website, you can go to Showdown Swap, and you can like follow along. Well, it has like links to all these matches, and it'll even. I think what we do is we post what we've picked for the next show. So we don't do these on like a specific timeline anymore, but we just do them when we can.
That's right. Yep.
And so I watched Kenta Kobashi versus Mitsuharu Misawa, and this is from Pro Wrestling Noah.
Event.
Yeah, and it would have been in like 03, I think it was.
Yeah, and if you have been following the show, you'll remember that I had a specific match in mind that I wanted to give you,
but they've had so many matches. I
was having a hard time finding it. I didn't realize that the specific match that I had in mind just is gone. There's no finding it anywhere.
Well,
so I was like, all right, well, watch
then.
at least a match of those guys. So this is the one we found, committed to it, said, cool, let's do this one then.
Yeah, it's another like example of the way, like the differences between Japanese wrestling and what we see like on weekly TV. There was like just a lot of methodical like chain wrestling opening the match, and it was like, you know, slow paced, but like it's strength versus strength, you know, and it's like who's gonna overpower the other guy first. And I love that kind of stuff. You don't see that anymore, and that was the thing you saw a lot even in, you know, the States. But you don't see a lot of chain wrestling like that anymore, unless it's AEW and it's like high speed fucking acrobatic chain wrestling or whatever. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
These are like small joint manipulation holds and like, you know, little arm bars and headlocks and stuff like that.
Oh, that was, dude.
The ring had Xbox logos all over it, like original Xbox logos.
Dude, it was 2003.
Yeah,
it was 2003, so of course it did.
I was like, oh my god, the fucking turnbuckles have the fucking OG Xbox logo. There was a running senton off the apron, which was kind of wild. There was a lot of crazy spots here, but Misawa like eats the guardrail wicked bad coming off the.
So that's wicked bad, dude. And so like he runs
from the
off
apron,
the rope, because Kobashi's on the outside on the guardrail, like and he runs and he does an actual like double arm lock on the rope, flip over to like stop, kind of like what's the word, like he fakes him out. And instead of diving, he flips over the rope and stops. Then he runs the apron and jumps off, and Kobashi dodges it and goes, "Your face!"
Just moves out of the way, and then,
bad.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
He smashes his face on the guardrail, dude. So bad.
There was a straight up. One thing I thought was cool was Kobashi just uses a actual full Nelson. Just uses a full Nelson submission. It's like I don't really see that anymore.
You don't see that anymore. They both did so. One of the things I like about that match is how you can tell it's an older match, and you can see kind of the Kings Road style of wrestling in it, which I love, and is, you know, it's kind of influenced a lot of modern guys today that we like, you know. And a lot of the way that modern matches work, some of that came from Kings Road style. And both of these two guys are pillars of Kings Road era of like Japanese wrestling in the 90s. I just can't even imagine how beat up they had to be going into this match because of how long they've been doing matches like that.
Sure.
Where it's like they have a rest hold, where they show them doing a rest hold, and they're hosing sweat so bad. Then they get up and they do a bunch of wicked, crazy, high-impact, super high-risk moves to each other, and then rest hold, hose, sweat, wicked
That's
hard.
the thing is, it's like it's like a lot of like brutal back suplexes and like back drops, and And then they look so impactful.
Belly to backs.
Yeah, but they do a good job making them look like. One thing I wrote down was,
dude,
they make them look like every one of these. They make it look like it could be a 3 count.
That's right.
None of them look like they're just methodical. Yeah.
Everything they do looks like the stakes are the highest possible, and they are trying to win with every single thing they do.
Yep.
That's something that's huge to point out, is that we see a lot of guys influenced by this, and they don't get it. And they're wrestlers. They it sounds so dumb for me to say they don't get it when they're the guys wrestling, but it's so obvious that they don't, because all they focus on is do moves back to back all the time. You got to do moves. It's like, no, you got to do every move is you looking like you're trying to win the fight.
Yeah. It's what I put was,
that's what these guys do masterfully.
I said it feels like every move, even if it's fundamental, can put them away. So it makes you pay attention more, because it's like every move has such an impact.
It's unbelievably high impact work.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel
super high risk.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you quite have that now. In some matches you do.
I agree. Some you do. The way
I think it's the separation of the moves and the way that they tell the story in between. You know what I mean? That's right.
You know who wrestles a lot like that? And this is coming from a guy, I didn't grow up in Japan. Obviously, neither of us did. I didn't grow up on King's Road stuff or strong style or anything like that. I didn't grow up on it.
Yeah.
So I'm not super knowledgeable on it.
Well, and Gunther isn't far off.
As a fan of wrestling, I've gone back. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew, those guys, you can see the European influence. You can see the similarities between it when you watch this match.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like, Gunther does a lot of those rest holds.
Super hard hitting.
Yeah.
Rest holds to bring the crowd down and then bring them back up with charges of momentum,
and
high impact moves. Like
the rest holds can tell a story, though. It's like it can really it can swing momentum back and forth. Yeah.
And there was logic behind the rest holds too. Like it seemed like Misawa was always working on Kobashi's arms.
Yep.
To try to weaken his arms so that he can't get off his lariat, his big burning lariat that he does as one of his signature moves. That's not going to be able to finish because his arm's too beat up. He's not going to be able to get enough on it. The burning hammer, he's not going to be able to get him. He's not going to be able to hold him.
And you do see guys in modern wrestling target certain areas, but usually it's because there's a backstory. Like with Sami Zayn,
somebody has a bad knee or something.
Neck, and his neck. So you're targeting. You're putting chairs around his neck,
and that's smart.
Yeah,
that's what you do. And that's what it felt like in this for sure. But
there was a big brain buster to the entrance ramp that was pretty sick.
Oh my god!
And then he does the fucking single half Nelson, belly to back off the ramp
onto the floor.
Yeah.
Off the ramp. I was like, what the fuck?
And then another thing I noted was they count to 20. Their countouts are to 20.
They're 20. Now, if you've played Revenge or World Tour or any of those games, they were originally the Japanese ones. So, like, World Tour in Japan was virtual pro wrestling, and so that's why there's a 20 count in.
Oh, that's right. It is 20.
Instead of a 10 here.
Yeah.
So is Revenge. Yeah.
I forgot that was 20. Shit.
Yeah, because they and when you watch this match, I think this match was a good example, and I'm sure there's a million. We're just never going to be able to see them all, which bums me out because every Japanese match I've seen from this era, that King's Road, all Japan, Noah stuff, is so good, and I love everything from that I've ever seen, or at least of these guys, the Four Pillars guys. But it was a good example of when you play those games, what they require. You know what I mean? Like when you play Revenge, you can't just run up to a guy and go, "I'm hitting my finisher." It's like you have to do weak attacks first. Yeah. Then you start to do stronger attacks, and then eventually every move you're doing is your power moves. You're like power bomb, get them up, do a brain buster.
Charge,
that's
grapple,
how this match felt wicked hard.
Yes,
dude. The last like 10 minutes of this match was somebody hits a wicked scary, high intensity, high impact, high risk power move.
Yeah.
They're laid out. The crowd goes insane. They cover, and there's a kick out. Guy gets up. It's a wicked, crazy power move.
Yeah, Misawa kept trying that. It's like, it's not a tiger driver, but it turns into like a sit out power bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And he did it like 3 or 4 times.
Is it a tiger bomb or something like that?
I don't know what it... Yeah, maybe. It's very similar to tiger, where you have it kind of like a pedigree, and then you flip them up into... It became a sit-out power bomb. I don't know if they call it that.
He hit him with it at one point. He did hit him with it at one point.
Yeah, he did. Towards the end.
My 2 favorite finishers ever, since I was a little kid, are both finishers that I had no clue where they came from when I was a kid, because I didn't grow up watching Japanese wrestling, and they were in No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. When you made creative characters, they had these moves in there that I'd never seen anyone else do ever, because I grew up in the States watching WCW and ECW and WWE or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just never saw them. I didn't know. My 2 favorite finishers ever are Misawa's Emerald Flosion, or it was called Fusion in N64 game over here.
Yeah.
But I believe it's Emerald Flosion. And then my favorite of all time is our namesake, the Burning Hammer. And we saw both of those in this match, which is so insane, dude.
Yeah, because the finish was Kobashi hit a brainbuster, which the brainbuster is a move that doesn't happen anymore, and it always looks so good.
Oh my God, it's so sketchy, dude. Yeah, so dangerous.
It is.
But he hit a wicked
but that was a fundamental move, like when I played video games. Brainbuster constantly.
Yep. And he hit a brainbuster, and
then Burning Hammer.
And he did a Burning Hammer, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was a good match. Really good match. I enjoyed that. Very
good match, and crazy how these 2 big guys are able to they came out of that looking so athletic and so tough as nails.
Yeah.
For being able to gas out that hard and continue to pull off these high risk power moves on each other. 2 big guys, and they're making them look perfect. Yeah. Absolutely perfect. Like, everything these guys did looked super high impact.
It looked like a canned video game animation.
It was so good, dude. Yeah.
And
so
good. I think the biggest takeaway for me was the way they were able to make every move look so impactful.
Yeah.
Just from the way they're telling this in-ring story.
Yep. And the pacing was great.
Oh yeah,
the way they moved too. They were both very deliberate and like they got up, they collected themselves, pulled their tights up, got ready, and went into like do a wicked fucked up move to each other. Yeah. Like it was just, they took their time with everything they did.
Well, their
match was what? Like it was like 30 minutes or something. Yeah, they're considered 2 of the best wrestlers of all time.
It's
so
it's a gimme.
Of course. Yeah, that's the thing. That's like one of the reasons why I wanted to do is, one, I have never seen the match, and I knew if we do this, I'll get to watch it too, and there was an excuse for me to watch it. I knew you hadn't seen it. Yeah. And I knew that specifically Kobashi and Misawa are considered 2 of the best Japanese wrestlers that have ever lived. So I was like, you just have to know. As a fan of wrestling my whole life, I've got to have an excuse to see at least some work of guys that are considered to be the best ever. Yeah. I've seen Flair matches and stuff. I've seen Steamboat, and we grew up watching Rock and Austin and all the modern guys and stuff in the States. But I never saw, I saw Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. Like, I know you watched that match as well. One of them.
Yeah. I've definitely seen a handful of matches.
I've seen those guys work at the highest level in Japan and stuff.
Because, and not to talk too much about the games, but, I used to go to my buddy's house and he'd be playing, like, Fire Pro, like Pro, anything like that. And it was a lot of Japanese guys.
Fire Pro is incredible, man. And Fire Pro is incredible.
I didn't know who any of these guys were. And so, obviously, there was a bunch of stars over there that you just didn't know about.
We just didn't grow up with them. I imagine if we were kids watching wrestling, not like if everything was the same as it was, we same age, same era, but at the time we just had the social media that we have right now, we would have just been watching New Japan and everything and
Right,
all
because you'd
Japan
have
and
the
know that stuff
access to it.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would just be already watching it. So, okay, so then the match you gave me was wicked cool. Another Lucha Underground match, which I love. Keep giving me those. They're awesome. And this was Pentagon Dark versus Hitokiri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Io Sky, who
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said more than one occasion on our show is might be my favorite women's wrestler in the world right now. Like I think she's one of the best in the world. She
Yeah.
is unbelievable. Uh, and this match was also wicked intense. Wicked intense.
It starts
Again,
fast.
it starts very fast with Io going
She just starts
hard
flying
on
around.
Penta, dude. Instantly starts flying around. She hits a fucking huge moonsault on him to the outside, like almost immediately. She's just instantly flying around, gets a chair and smacks him with a chair and stuff.
Yeah. She jumps on him fast. And this is
dude,
after, because Penta had 2 matches before this.
Yes, against her other teammates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they saved her for last because they said she was the most dangerous of all three or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, she obviously wants to just jump on him and, take advantage.
She's going, we're kicking the shit out of this guy. Yep. But then he like reverses a Irish whip or some shit and sends her flying into chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she sends him flying into chairs first, I think.
Yeah, a couple.
And then they
once.
they pull the pads up and stuff.
Yeah.
And she does just a scoop slam to him onto the venue floor, which is wicked cool. And then he does this one spot that is so cool where they're in the ring. They get in the ring and he's finally getting offense in on her. But then she like has him up against the ropes and she's like hitting him or whatever. And then she goes to run the ropes and he runs behind her and she does a handspring.
The drop
and while
kick.
She's upside down, he drop kicks her, dude. That is wicked cool. That was
awesome.
A very good spot. But then what I loved was when he takes her back outside, he throws her into the chairs and the crowd's
wicked hard,
wicked uncomfortable.
Throws her like 4 rows into the chairs.
And then he gets her up and he does it to another set of chairs at one point. He gets a like cable, I think, from a camera and he's choking her with a cable over his back. Lifting her, and they cut to some woman in the audience who's just like, oh god, like she's so uncomfortable. He takes the cable, drags her over to the post, and is pulling her face into the post with the cable, and you could hear the crowd is just going, this is sketchy. But then you can hear some dude in the background is like, fuck yeah. Dude, it's so funny. And there's one guy who's like up in the background clapping wicked hard for Pentagon, like smacking the shit out of me. Yo, dude, it's so bad.
And it's so weird because it's intergender, so it's like,
yeah. But dude, the props to both of them, they made this match look like it just didn't even matter.
No,
they kicked the shit out of each other, dude. This was a super hard hitting, super fast paced match. I loved when Io, the big finale was Io climbing up. I can't remember what she did. She like attacked Penta or reversed him or something and ended up knocking him down. Yeah. And then she went up onto the roof of the like president office. Guy. Yeah, his office. And she did a gigantic splash.
That's a long way to go, man.
That's one of the biggest splashes I've legit ever seen. She did to that, or did to him off of that. And
that's a hard. It's got to be higher than it looks, even on the fucking.
Yeah, and then I believe she finished him with with like a Canadian destroyer or something like that, and she beat him.
Mm-hmm.
She beat him, and then her faction mates come out and like broke his arm, did his arm break thing he's been doing to people. They did it to him.
Yeah.
And then another guy I wasn't super familiar with, just because I don't know.
El Dragon Azteca.
It was. That's right. Yep. He came out and broke his arm, and the way that it went off camera was so funny to me, because as they're showing all this violence and stuff, and it goes away and it cuts to Vampiro, who's on commentary, and he just is like,
yeah.
Like just smiling, like I love watching violence, dude.
Yeah, his commentary was weird because he was like he was getting weird on commentary, like he was like
now that's what I wanted to ask you. That's what I wanted to ask. He was getting super weird on commentary. When was this, as opposed to the match you had me watch of Pentagon versus Vampiro?
That's a good question. I can't remember if this is before or after that.
Okay,
because
I'd be curious to know.
This is after Ultima Lucha 2. I don't remember what that match was from, though. I'd have to look up what we had it.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not that big a deal. It just made me curious because I was like, I wonder if the reason he was being so weird on commentary is because he was about to or was teasing or setting up for what was going to go down.
Yeah, I can't remember what event that was. I'm sure I can find it if I go through the...
I thought this was a wicked good match. Shocker, Io Sky and Pentagon had a good match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just solidified, dude. Io's been one of the best in the world for a long time now. And I'm very happy that she is a top star in WWE now.
Yeah, it's just like...
As his Pentagon will be if he's not already.
I think what I liked was it shows, even back whenever this was, she was still putting on fucking really good matches. And intergender matches are always crazy anyway. So
they're crazy and they're challenging. And I thought this was a much more balanced, even, believable match for an intergender match than the last one you had me watch off Lucha, where the guy did the crazy-ass dive into the ring.
Yeah.
Where there was like 5 minutes of one random dude just kicking the shit out of some poor girl. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Dude. I loved that. I thought it was amazing.
That match is... Yeah, that's a decent match, but like really the biggest part of that is just the big spots in that match.
I mean, that has one of the craziest spots in Lucha Underground, that they show in all their trailers and stuff like that.
I think when guys jump off that fucking roof is just crazy.
Crazy. Never, yeah.
It's a great, it's such a cool design because you can be creative with that. Some guys jump into the ring.
I really like the design of the Lucha Underground stage.
And then there's, there's barricades up in the stands. So even there's another platform you can jump off of. And there's stairs. There's all kinds of shit. And the chairs that she's getting thrown through are like wooden chairs.
They're so beat.
Yeah,
you could tell her hitting them. I was like,
they're not worked chairs.
Good.
They're fucking straight up wooden chairs.
Yeah, they looked like they sucked, and she did it perfect. She did exactly what she needed to do, but I bet it didn't feel good. You know?
You're front flipping and you're
just getting chewed up.
Yeah,
the whole way. There's just no way she's not super chewed up from that match. But yeah, those are good matches. I thought both of these matches were sick this time around.
Yeah.
For the next one.
Oh shit! Yeah, I gotta pull up.
I've got one for you that is gonna be a tough watch. Another tough watch, but I said I gotta get this one out of the way.
Well,
and you may have seen it already. It's a big deal. It's a pretty infamous match, legendary match. But yeah, as soon as you have yours, I'll tell you mine, and we'll get them. This one shouldn't be hard to find either because it's so legendary.
I'm going to give you another Lucha Underground match.
Sure,
it's from the first episode ever.
Okay. What do you got?
Johnny Mundo versus Prince Puma. So John Morrison versus Ricochet.
Love it. Can't wait to see it. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah, first ever episode. I think it's the main event from that one.
Okay, cool. I can't wait to watch it. The match I have for you, and I'm going to watch it too, is Mick Foley versus Terry Funk, 1995 IWA King of Death match event in Japan. Like the death match. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Got to do it. So we'll get that one out of the way. Cool. Hell yeah. So I love being able to do these on Discord. I think it makes it easier. We're still dialing in our Discord setup, so you'll probably see the way we look change every episode or whatever.
It's not consistent.
But it's not the point anyways. All that matters is what we're covering. So
yeah, and there's no, like we said, there's no timetable for it.
No,
we're just doing
it. We're just going to do these as we have them. Yep. It's extracurricular.
So yeah, again, like if you want to like watch these matches, we put the links on the website through our blog.
Watch them and then comment and tell us what you thought.
Yeah, just like follow along with us because it's
Absolutely.
like you don't know what the fuck we're talking about unless you're watching it with us.
No, and we're covering. If you love wrestling as much as we do, and you enjoy going back and watching historical matches, even obscure ones and stuff, watch them with us. Chime in, let us know what you think of the matches. If you have seen them before or haven't until you watched it because of us. And if you hated them, tell us why you hated them too.
Right.
That's fine.
And yeah, it's like you might have seen them already.
Some of these, I have some on my list I've been sitting on that are because they're real bad.
Yeah, me too.
And we're gonna get to those too, for sure. So,
I have like comedy matches and fucking.
yeah, absolutely.
It's just a fucking mess. It's like
we're gonna get there, but yeah, good shit.
All right, thank you everybody. We'll see you next time we do this.
Yep. Peace.